Hello and welcome to the Geeks Review. I'm Royce.
And I'm Joshua. Today we'll be talking about, well, two semi-Netflix originals, Disenchanted and the series continuing 20 years later of the Karate Kid movies, Cobra Kai.
Oh, it's Disenchantment, sorry.
Yeah, Disenchantment.
Disenchantment. Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai. So, 20 years later, we are reintroduced to the characters of Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso being reprised by the classic actors of the show, of the movies. But the focus is not on Mr. LaRusso. First episode, we are reintroduced to Johnny Lawrence, a washed-up appliance and sort of all-around handyman. He's, well, let's just say that Crane Kick really did a nosedive on his life. Just everything apparently has gone wrong for him. He's living in this crappy apartment. He's got this crappy old beater hot rod, which is just such a shame. You know, it's a beautiful car. He's got a Firebird, man.
Oh, yeah.
He's still living in the 80s, so to speak. And that's one of his biggest foibles. But it's the redemption story of Johnny Lawrence, because after finally taking too many blows and realizing, hey, there's money to be made in this, he reopens the Cobra Kai dojo, which manages to flap the unflappable Daniel LaRusso, who's just been super successful up until this point. He's got his own auto dealership, and he is the king of auto in the valley, going so far as to having 4 billboards in several different of the boroughs. LaRusso Auto, we kick the competition. He's taken the karate shtick a little bit too far for his marketing, even going so far as to personally giving each customer who buys a brand new car their own bonsai tree. I'm not even kidding.
That sounds really interesting.
It is.
I've never seen the Karate Kid film, so which might be sacrilege, but it just never came up.
I haven't seen the originals either, so we're all good.
So is this sort of like a takedown then of maybe I'm looking into this too much? 80s nostalgia in a way, do you think? I mean, definitely living in the past, like you said, it seems they both are. They're unable to move past their childhoods.
Well, they kind of... Daniel at least likes to think that he's moved past it, but when Cobra Kai reopens, he kind of has these haunting flashbacks to the first film where he was actually picked on and practically assaulted and nearly killed by the members of Cobra Kai. So it's sort of, I guess it's more of a sins of the past finally coming to air type of story. Because you've got Johnny Lawrence, he's reopened Cobra Kai, but he's still continuing the old teachings of his master sensei Kreese.
Right.
You know, no fear, no mercy, strike first.
So is this sort of a series that focuses directly on these two, or is there like a new cast of characters?
There is a brand new generation of Karate Kids.
Right.
Yeah.
What are they like?
So you have Miguel, played by... oh boy. Zolo Ramanduina. He just happens to live next door across the apartment complex from Johnny. And Johnny saves his life, much like Mr. Miyagi did to Daniel. Sort of stepping in to beat off some bullies.
Might want to say beat up,
not beat up. Beat up some bullies, yes. Yeah, I know exactly, yeah. It didn't click until after I said it. Yeah, to fend off some bullies who have come to sort of pick on Diaz because wrong place, wrong time, and he reopens it to sort of, you know, teach the kids self-defense.
Right.
And then other kids from the school start to get involved, some of them radically changing their sort of aspects. There's one fella, he's got a bit of a, I can't remember what it is, but he's got this huge post-op scar running from his lip practically up to his nose.
Oof.
Yes, and, well, the bullies are merciless, as all things have told us. High school is just a war zone.
Oh, for sure.
Yes, so a lot of these kids, they're sick of being kicked and pushed around, all sign up for Cobra Kai, and then inevitably LaRusso himself opens up the Miyagi-Do dojo as sort of a screw Cobra Kai, this is not how you're meant to learn karate. This is how you're meant to learn karate, and a lot of kids call him out for what it is. It's just an old dude trying to get a bunch of kids to do his chores around the place.
Just like Miyagi did.
Yeah,
but at least Miyagi was like teaching something.
Yes, and
I know that much.
Going so far as to actually honor the original actor of Mr. Miyagi,
Pat Morita, yeah.
Pat Morita, with one of the episodes.
Oh, nice. But it sort of sounds like he's been recontextualized as the villain almost, or he's at least the antagonist
He's the antagonist for at least the first 1.5 seasons.
So what happens? Do they become like allies or something, or does he vanish?
So every time it seems that they're about to get along, something happens that just drives them apart. You think, oh, finally, they're going to bury the hatchet. Nope, this happens. And it also deals with Johnny having a son who's really doesn't like his dad. He thinks he's a deadbeat. And Johnny's doing all his best to go, no, I'm not a deadbeat son. No, I'm trying to be better. And LaRusso himself having children. And they're sort of, along with Miguel and Hawk and a few of the others, sort of thrusted into the middle as the leadings of the different dojos. Even going as far enough to have what the council dubs karate wars in the school, where the two dojos are going at it, almost crippling each other, either in school or in an abandoned laser tag building.
Oh, jeez.
And that is only made worse with the return of Sensei Kreese.
Who's this character?
Martin Krove. So he's the original Cobra Kai sensei. So
Right.
he's the one who taught Johnny everything that he knows.
Oh, okay.
He's the one that sort of gave the mantra of strike fast, strike first, no mercy. And he only comes back when he realizes, hey, someone's rebuilding Cobra Kai. Who could this be? It happens to be my favorite student. And this show, despite, giving us all the continuations, also gives us a little bit more into the air of mystery behind Sensei Kreese and why he's so brutal. Turns out Sensei Kreese was ex-Special Forces from Vietnam. Spent some time in a Vietnamese internment camp.
Ooh.
Actually had a somewhat interesting, plain Jane life before the war. And then, he had to go back home. She crashed, her car wrapped around a tree, she's dead, and his commanding officer decides, I'm not going to tell him. I need him to stay focused. So, the North Vietnamese doing this thing as a way of entertaining. They get 2 of the prisoners each night to stand on it's probably about a 45 centimeter plank stretching above a long pit filled to the brim with venomous snakes.
Oof.
So when Kreese finds out that his commanding officer's been lying to him the entire time, he sort of volunteers himself, knowing that he could easily die here. The fight goes pretty much as many people would expect. Kreese comes out on top, but he has that moment of hesitation where he's thinking, do I let my commanding officer die or do I help him up? And that's sort of interrupted by the Americans coming in to rescue them. And even after the Yanks have come in, they rescue him, he just steps on his commander's fingers and lets him plummet into the pit.
Oof.
So it's sort of showing us more and giving us more about these characters instead of just, continuing their stories as well.
This is interesting because this was originally a YouTube series.
It was on YouTube Red originally, yes.
And YouTube Premium. This was the thing where they always harass you to pay money to stop playing ads. Oh, it's so annoying.
So glad that went under.
Oh, God. Yeah. But now it's on Netflix.
Yes.
So is this now a Netflix original, or have they just got
This is now a Netflix original. So the first season, I don't know how much was originally on YouTube Red.
I think it was this first 2 series from what I'm reading here.
Yeah.
So I was just going to say, did you notice like a step up in quality? Maybe like now it's got Netflix money behind it? Because one thing I have heard about this series is that it did feel quite cheap, as a YouTube series.
A somewhat relatively increase in quality to it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, It's still a show about karate, man. Come on.
Yeah, but when it looks like a Smosh video from like 10 years ago.
Yeah, there's moments where it does feel like that. But this is still an ongoing series. So we are currently in the midst of waiting for season 4.
And Series 3 played recently, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
30 episodes in total.
Yes.
Well, Will Smith is an executive producer.
Yeah, he's attached to it.
I guess because he did the one with his son.
Yeah.
Jackie Chan
There's
10 years ago.
There's a few episodes where you'll see executive producer Will Smith. It's like, oh, God, no. But it is some of the original guys behind the creative minds of it.
Right. Well, actually, yeah, Will Smith was very, tight with YouTube for a bit, wasn't he?
He was.
That was.
But
if it's the original people who were behind the original films, because that was
some of them, yeah.
That was quite a series, wasn't it? Like there was quite a few films and spin-offs.
There were, and it mainly focuses connecting the movies that had Daniel LaRusso in them.
Right, because there was the Karate Kid in '84, Part 2 in '86, Part 3 in '89, the next Karate Kid in '94, the Karate Kid 2010, and an animated series in 1989. How about that?
Yeah.
It really was the Rocky of its day for kids.
It feels like it.
A great song,
Rocky
actually.
isn't a washed-up boxer. He's selling cars down in the valley.
So, like, he never went through Rocky 5.
No.
Good thing they cut it off at Karate Kid 4, because that would have gone that way.
It would have.
Well, that's interesting.
It is an interesting series,
And you've never seen the movies before?
No, I haven't. And it has, it does make you want to go and watch the films, even though it does use footage of the films.
So it's not completely inaccessible to anyone who's, never seen them before?
No. It mainly shows the films as flashback sequences, and not many of them. They're a bit more poignant with LaRusso.
That's cool.
It is.
And it's on Netflix now, which is a lot more accessible than YouTube or anything.
Far more accessible.
Because, YouTube was just so... It was alienating, that that thing. It's just like, do we really want to give these guys money?
Yeah.
Netflix, though, take it all.
Yeah, no, take my money, shut up and take it. And it's worth a watch, even if it's just going for the nostalgia and maybe a season.
Sounds cool. So that's Cobra Kai, the Karate Kid spin-off set in the present day. You can find that on on Netflix. Much easier than YouTube.
Much easier than YouTube, but they'll make you pay for it even more.
Speaking of Netflix series, you've got Disenchantment, cartoon series by Matt Groening of The Simpsons and Futurama, set in a fantasy world.
Yes.
That deals with fantasy tropes and lampoons them, and I've only seen series 1. There's 3 series out now. You've seen them all.
Yes.
From what I have seen, really fun series.
It is. The comedy definitely is not for everyone.
Yeah.
And even for me, I kind of groan at a few of them. It's like, really? But it is a very hilarious romp, and surprisingly enough, the only thing that I think it suffers from too much is mystery box syndrome.
Yeah, lots of what's this character's deal? What's the backstory of this?
What's this? What does this mean? Oh my god, what does this mean?
We're going to kill a character at the end of series 1. I'm just like, they're going to bring him back, and they did.
Yeah, they did. They did.
Yes. I liked Eric Andre's character. And the
Lucy.
little demon. Lucy, yes.
Yes. He is definitely the more hilarious character.
Classic voice actors here. Billy West, obviously best known as Fry in Futurama. Tress MacNeille, John DiMaggio.
Uses a lot of the old Futurama cast.
Yeah. I really like this. I never got a chance to watch The Simpsons when I was younger. And getting to watch it now, it's kind of like, whatever.
Simpsons is definitely a time capsule.
Yeah. And Futurama I like a bit more. But I think this was really the one that sort of got me, because I found what it did with the fantasy concepts, while it's all doing it in a very tongue-in-cheek manner, it does take it seriously to a degree that there is law, there's rules, there's continuity and consistency.
They're making their own rules, but they're not making them up as they go along.
And I really like
to some degree.
I do like the yeah, just the world was really fun, and the characters were fun, and yeah, just having, like I said, the character of Lucy Light, who's this demon, who's sort of like this black cat of mischief, played by Eric Andre, who is himself an agent of anarchy. And
yes, he is.
And yeah, lots of just really fun moments here. But yes,
and there's a bigger world to it, you know.
Yeah.
Like, Season 2 shows us Steamland.
Right.
An entirely steampunk, medieval-themed land.
Right, yes.
Going to go far as having blimps, airships, motorized transport, and what have you.
There is a character who I quite liked from Series 1 as well, Una.
Yes,
Queen.
The Queen Una.
I heard that she left in Series 2, or did she?
Yes, she did. She left to become a pirate queen.
Does she come back?
Yes, she does.
Cool.
Multiple times, but I think I have to say Una is probably the best character in the show.
Really?
Yes, particularly after Season 3, where she helps Bean, the main character, well, one of the trio of the main characters, sort of overcome some anxiety stuff with a stepmom doing drugs with her daughter-in-law.
Oh, no.
So they're sort of just running around the castle as Bean's having this realization of, oh my god, I need to do this.
I'm really struggling to remember the series now. I did like it, and there's, like I said, there's some really creative stuff in there.
There is very creative stuff. It does try and flip fantasy on its head, but also respect sort of the masters of the past.
And I think especially after The Simpsons has been going for like over 30 years now.
Oh my god, yes.
You sort of think like that needs to be put to bed, and all focus needs to be put into this.
It does, and this definitely has those moments where you will sit there and go, oh my god, just stop. It's already dead, but it makes up for it in different ways. Season 1 definitely is the grabber. The one that will try its best to sort of sink its teeth and claws into you. Season 2 does a bit more with trying to reveal the plot, and sometimes it feels a little bit too plot heavy.
Right.
While Season 3 finally manages to actually get that nice little balance of humour and plot going.
Because I found with Series 1, it was very sort of like Alien of the Week, Monster of the Week at times. Also like Location of the Week, very Futurama, like where you go to a new alien world or a new place. And with that, the sort of big ongoing season plot, which was always in the background, just really sort of comes out of nowhere. And then you end that series going like, oh, okay, this is just a completely different show almost. It's almost quite hopeless at the end.
It is. And this has been a recurring theme, each season is hopeless at the end, you know?
Right.
You've got the final episode of Season 1, Dreamland Falls, where everyone's turned to stone. Then you've got the end of Season 2, Tia Beanie Falls, where she's being burnt at the stake as a witch.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, they finally realize, hang on a second, the cat's doing stuff with her. And they burn the poor elf as well. But I don't mind that. I surprisingly, seeing Elfo in pain makes me feel a little bit better, you know? It's like, everything's gonna be alright. And then the final episode of Season 3, Princess Bean falls down.
Oh, okay.
And it's just literally she falls down. Into an elevator.
Oh, no.
That goes all the way down to hell for some reason.
Oh, okay. So we're going down there, eh?
And there are some characters where they definitely need to either A, figure out what the hell they're doing with them, or B, just really find a way to put them to bed. And the one with that suffers from this the most is Queen Dagmar.
Which one's this one?
This was King Zog's first wife, the
right?
mother
Yes,
of Bean.
The one who's sort of set into motion a big cliffhanger for the end of Series 1.
Yes, and she's always there for the stingers of either the end and beginning of each season.
Right. Okay. Well, that's something at least.
It is something, but they really don't establish what Dagmar is, whether or not she's a Dagmar, not Dagmar. I'm thinking of Dankmar. Dagmar is either a villain or just an agent to propel her part of the plot along. Because it's sort of showing that Bean's part of this prophecy of this ancient kingdom called Maru, and Elfo may be part of some strange elven prophecy and such, and the elves themselves have their own other prophecy to deal with and whatnot. There's a lot of stuff going on, and you're just sort of trying to shift through it all. Even so far as to where walruses are... Well, is it walruses? Yes, the Walrus Island is the mermaid island.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, there was something with the mermaids, wasn't there? They were either dugons or they were walruses.
Yeah. Where Mermaid Island is a good place to go to, so long as, you don't stay for dinner. You don't end up at Walrus Island because you will smash yourselves on the rocks.
Also, cast members, Matt Berry.
Yes.
From What We Do in the Shadows, the IT Crowd. And I think, is it maybe Richard Ayoade? And
yes, Richard Ayoade.
Noel Fielding as well?
Noel Fielding, I believe, is part of the... Yes, he's there for most of it. I can't remember who he plays. Either he's Prince Merkama.
He does a few, he did a few voices, I remember.
Yes.
He sort of showed up here and there.
And Richard Ayoade has only recently popped up as one of the ruling de facto members of Steamland.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yes.
That's fun.
It is. It is actually hilarious. And the character himself is somewhat of a strangeness because you see him most of the time without a mustache. And then when he finally reveals himself to be this sort of higher up, it's like, wait, you're wearing a mustache? Yes, I sort of backed myself into a corner with this one day. They sort of caught me without the mustache, so I was like, so now I'm stuck wearing it.
Final thoughts on Disenchantment.
It's not going to get everyone, but it certainly got me.
Yes.
And I would give this a recommendation.
If you love fantasy, if you love sort of tongue-in-cheek riffs on the genre and similar, definitely check it out. It's on Netflix. All 3 series, that's 30 episodes to check out, and they're about 20-30 minutes long.
I think there's about 16 at max for some seasons.
Oh, right, okay. Well, that's better.
They do release every episode out at once.
Okay, so you can sort of go through them in an entire day, really, if you're super
I finished it in a day. What are you talking about?
Of course. I just want to chuck a little review in here. How familiar are you with the British sitcom The Vicar of Dibley? I can tell by your silence, probably not.
I am. It's been a very long time. I'm more of a Father Ted guy.
Oh, yeah, Father Ted's great. But The Vicar of Dibley was this beloved British sitcom starring Dawn French as Geraldine Granger, a female vicar who causes controversy after she comes to the small village of Dibley. This show originally began in the early to mid-90s. It was actually only in 1992 that the Vatican passed the law that allowed women to be ordained as, vicars. So the show ran for several years, but it's had, a few charity specials here and there. There was one with Johnny Depp, I think, in the late 90s or early 2000s. There was one a few years ago with Ruth Jones and Jennifer Saunders and Emma Watson all playing like female vicars, competing for the role of cardinal. And they've gone and done a lockdown special, which you can watch on ABC iView, yeah. The show is really lacking without a studio audience, I'll say that much. And considering most of the cast has unfortunately passed away, Emma Chambers, who played Alice, passed away very suddenly a few years ago. They do have a moment where the show is presented like she's stuck at home throughout 2020 and she's doing video sermons, through the webcam. So she does a whole moment where she remembers Alice, which is nice, but it's sort of like, okay, it's a bit weird because Owen, played by Roger Lloyd Pack, people might know him as Trigger from Only Fools and Horses.
Yeah.
He passed away 6 years ago, but his character is still alive and off camera. And there's a moment where it's a very weird, and it feels a bit stilted. And it's like Dawn French needed an audience to bounce off, more actors to bounce off, because it's just her sitting in a lounge room, playing the character. Her husband, who was played by Richard Armitage, who she did marry, is mentioned only sparingly. I said Owen is mentioned a lot, and like Owen is filming her when outside. And I understand the role of a vicar, as a community leader, is sort of made to address, goings on in the community or the world at large, in this day and age. It just feels a bit weird when Geraldine Granger of Dibley is talking about the murder of George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movement. I understand, but it feels a bit hokey, and I understand there might have been good intentions to it, and some might find it to be touching or nice, but it was a bit awkward. And some of the jokes just really don't land, where you've got like Hugo Horton just, doing a moment for like 2 minutes where he's just saying the word had for like 2 minutes. It's like, what's the point of this? It's, if you're a Vicar of Dibley fan, check it out. It's on ABC iView. I just wanted to chuck that in there because this is something that I saw and struck me as being so odd. I needed to talk about. Yeah. Very strange. That's it for today's show.
Yes.
We discussed Cobra Kai, the Karate Kid continuation. That's a mouthful. And Disenchantment from the same people who brought us The Simpsons and Futurama, a fantasy.
Mainly the Futurama crew.
Mostly the Futurama crew, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely check it out if you're a fan of Futurama.
Also, they have 5 fingers.
They do.
Yes.
They do, yeah.
They finally got an extra digit in.
And everyone's skin tone as well.
Yeah. Well, most of them.
Well, yeah, I mean, Una's like blue. But
yes.
Yes.
And Elfo is green, but
Oh, he's an elf.
Yeah.
Interesting what they did with the elves, hey?
It is.
Yeah. We've been the Geeks Review. I'm Royce.
And I'm Joshua.
And we'll see you next week for our discussion of his Dark Materials. See you then.